Hi, this is Mary Kelly, and I'm thrilled to be part of this amazing lineup of way more talented people than me to try to provide a little bit of value in this industry. So, as many of you know, I spent about a little over 25 years, 26 years on active duty in the Navy, and I was able to run military facilities. And many of the lessons that I learned from running military bases, running organizations, and working with people, I translated into my business myself. And this is also how I hope I help my clients. One of the areas that I always find so interesting is how many people struggle with what you do when you get stuck with your business. Now, you've heard me say it before that you need to run your business like a business. And so I wanted to share with you for just a few minutes some of the things I do when I think, how can I get better? What do I need to do to move forward? And I thought I'd just put it together in a quick PowerPoint for you so you can see what it is I do when I get stuck. So I have what I call my 5-minute business growth plan. I love checklists. I love templates. I love tools. I love anything that can make my life easier so that I'm not looking at a blank piece of paper. Many of us, when we went to write a paper, say in school, we would just look at that blank piece of paper or that blank computer screen and not know where to start or what to do. And without somebody else to talk you through it or some kind of guide, it just makes it so much harder. So this is my business growth plan, and I wanted to share it with you because what it does is it just asks you to think about a lot of the things we do think about, but in a more systematized way. And especially right now, when some people are kind of struggling a little bit this year with so much uncertainty going on in the world, sometimes we just need to take a step back and look at things to figure out what we should focus on. So I'm hoping this might be helpful for you. This is a business growth assessment. One of the questions I love to ask people is, where are you really strong? What if you had an extra person or an extra budget, where would you put attention? And then where should you focus? Now that is what I think is really difficult. So I ask people to say yes, no, or maybe to these questions. So as you're watching this or listening to this, it might be helpful for you to say yes, no, maybe, and answer these questions and kind of work along with me. And at the end, the questions that people say no to or not sure, then I ask them to circle the top 3 that will allow them to increase their revenues the most. Yesterday, I was on a call with one of my clients. He's a CEO of a very successful landscaping business. And I said, why do you think you do well when many of your competitors don't? And without missing a beat, he said, because I watch my numbers, because I run this like a business. So number 1 is, do you have a business plan that accurately describes your business? Yes, no, maybe. Do you have a strategic vision for your business that will drive you toward future success? Again, yes, no, maybe. And by strategic vision, I'm not talking about just what it is you do. The mission is what it is you do. The vision is where you want to go. So let's say you're a landscaping company. So you do landscaping work, you build rock walls, you put in sprinkler systems, you provide enhancements, you put in flower beds, whatever you do. That is your mission, but your vision is, we are Colorado's premier landscaping company, period. That's it. The vision is something everyone can get behind. It is clear, it is compelling, and it's exciting. It gives people a reason to be there. Now, you might have a vision for driving your business towards success, but is everyone else in the organization clear on what that vision is? So again, the question is everyone clear on our goals for moving the organization forward? Yes, no, maybe. And again, it's less important what you think, and it's far more important what your people think. If they think, I'm not sure, then that's a no. So you have to understand it from their perspective as well. As the person in charge, you have to know your break-even points. Now, your break-even points is that place where your costs equal your revenues. So in every business, you've got costs. You've got fixed costs. Let's say that's your monthly rent. It is your parking cleanup people. It is maybe your lawyer who's on retainer. It's trash pickup. It's electricity. It's your phone bills. It's all those things that you pay all the time. Those are your fixed costs. And then every month you also have variable costs. It could be travel, it could be inventory fluctuations, it could be hourly wage people who come and go depending upon what's going on with your business at that time. Certain businesses like ski resorts need a certain staff in the winter. They don't need quite as many people in the summer. So that can be a fluctuating number. Those are your variable costs. So when you add up your fixed and your variable costs, that's your total costs. Now, when you first start out, your costs are almost always more than your revenue, because many times we start out at zero. We're making nothing. And then there's that and keep in mind that even if you don't do any business, you still have fixed costs. You still got costs every single month to run your organization. And then as you start to progress, there's a moment in time where your revenues catch up to your costs. And that is called a break-even point. It is that moment in time where your revenues, all the money that you've taken in, all your different prices times your different quantities, that equals your total revenue. That kicks in. And for us, that first break-even point, that's a very good moment. It means we're not losing money anymore. Then as that total revenue line increases, what's great about that is you come to a point where you want it to be as fat as possible. You want that differential, that delta, where your total revenue line is as far greater as your total cost as you can get it. And that's your biggest profitability point. So many businesses need to understand their break-even points, because if you get to that second break-even point, now all of a sudden your costs have started to catch up with your total revenues, and that becomes problematic, because now you start to lose money again. And this is why in some cases we see people working harder than ever, but they're losing money. And that's what we want to avoid. So knowing where your break-even points are, knowing where you maximize your profitability, and understanding that is huge. So if that's a yes, great. If it's a maybe, it's something to look at. And if it's a no, that's something to look at. We have systems in place for actively generating, receiving, and thanking referrals. So I have to credit the Bill Cates system for how to do referrals. He's written several books on this. And way before I met him, I was a rabid fan of everything he was talking about. The real estate world does a terrific job of tracking, generating, receiving, and thanking referrals. A lot of the rest of us don't do nearly as good a job. So we have to track those and put those into place so that when people give us a referral, it's like they give us a baby or a puppy or something to be cherished and cared for. And we have to make sure we do that. So yes, no, maybe on the referrals. Do we have systems in place for showing customer appreciation? Now, some people say, well, I do a once a year party, or I do this, or when somebody makes a sale, I give them a bottle of wine. Well, what do they get a year later, 2 years later? How do we remember them? What are we thinking about? What systems do we have in place to show customer appreciation? Yes, no, maybe. How are we doing on that? Do we have systems in place for getting honest feedback? Now, I'm the first one to say, I don't necessarily want honest feedback. I want to be told you're smart and you're funny and your stuff was really helpful. But that doesn't really help me grow. What I want to know is, what else could I be doing that would provide more value? Do I have a system in place to provide honest feedback? Yes, no, maybe. Many feedback systems for customers are either 5 stars or nothing, and customers know it. So they know they have to give you 5 stars or nothing at all, which means you've got a lot of people out there who didn't have a 5-star experience, but they're not going to spend the time to tell you. Is your website easy to navigate? Yes, no, maybe. And again, not easy to navigate for you. You know where everything is. It's for a perfect stranger or someone who might be interested in what it is you do. And then, is your website mobile friendly? It might work great on your particular phone, but make sure you test it on other varieties of phones to make sure it's compatible. About every 3 months, something changes. So having your website mobile friendly and able to appear nicely on tablets and phones is critical in today's marketplace. And then our social media. Let's talk about that for just a second, because many people are still struggling against it. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. We have to make sure it's updated consistently and linked to our website. It is the fastest, easiest way to get the search engine spiders working for you. And it's just linking your social media to your website. Now, that also means making sure that when your social media is updated, people know what it is you do. I love cat videos just as much as the next person. But if all I'm doing on my social media is cat videos and people don't know what it is I do, then that doesn't help me with my business. Can your website capture customer contact information when someone goes to visit your website? Yes, no, maybe. And if somebody goes to your website and they can't find what they need, are they going to get frustrated and go on to the next website? Or do you have a mechanism in place that will help them find you and get the information they need? Do you have trusted advisors to keep you on track, such as a corporate advisor, a board of directors, or even a mastermind, a peer council, something like that that helps you bounce around ideas and stay focused on what it is you need to do? Yes, no, maybe. And again, would your team say you've got a team of trusted advisors? What would they say? Do you devote resources on professional training for your team? Yes, no, maybe. And what kind of resources are those? Are those resources that's working for them and you, or is it just something you're doing to check the block? Does everyone on the team know how to take great care of the customers? Well, everybody might know, but are they doing it? That's another question. Yes, no, maybe. Is it everyone's intent to wake up every morning with the intent in their heart to help your customers? And then, do we follow up with our clients the way we should? Now, there's not one business out there that couldn't use a little help with follow-up, mine included. There's not always enough time. There's not always enough resources. We've got all the excuses in the world, but follow-up, follow-up, follow-up is what keeps your customers loyal, keeps your clients happy, and make sure you and your team know you are best serving your people. So one of the things I just did very recently, and this is through a lady named Christine at cookiecharm.com, and she just sent a cookie. She calls it a cookiegram, and I love this because they get a cookie in the mail. It's beautifully packaged. It's not a sales pitch, and it just says, thinking of you, we're all in this together. And it's got my name and a picture, and it allows people to pay it forward, and they get to send a cookiegram too. So my whole goal is to improve productivity, profits, and your business strategies. I hope it's been a little bit helpful. I absolutely love what we get to do and how we get to share resources together. And thank you so much for letting me be part of it.